Last week, I put up a community post on my channel asking you guys, the viewers, what your biggest headaches are when it comes to meal planning and preparing and making meals for yourself or your families. And that post was actually born of a headache that I was dealing with that week when I had to come up with a meal plan on the fly because our schedule just got so busy and what I had planned wasn't gonna work. Well, here on this channel, you've heard me say I'm always trying to be helpful in a kind, positive, and realistic way. And I actually have hundreds of videos that I have made over the last 5 years on my channel. So I thought I would tackle some of the frustrations that you guys expressed in the comments of that community post and see if I can share some ideas that might be helpful. Headache number one, and possibly the problem that I heard echoed more than any other, at least as much as any other in that community post, is I'm just too busy. We're a busy family and I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to meal prep or meal plan. And man, do I understand that, because I'm definitely living in that season. It is May right now, and I've mentioned in some of my May videos that we are living through May-cember as a family, where it seems like a lot of extra things fall into our calendars as the kids are finishing up their school year. And in fact, this led to the inspiration for a video I just posted a few weeks back where I gave 10 ideas, 10 meal ideas that can be prepped and ready to eat in about 10 minutes or less. So I'll leave that one linked in the description box below if you're looking for some just super fast meal ideas. I have also taken the tack, when I know that there's a busy week on the horizon for my family, of meal prepping all of our meals for the week at one time. And this doesn't have to be very complicated or take a long time. In fact, the video that I made on that topic, I was able to prep 5 dinners, I believe, in under an hour. I've also mentioned several times my friend Carrie's website, Lazy Day Cooking Club, because it's a meal prep club where she gives recipes that you can meal prep for your family, but they're specifically designed for the crock pot. So you could actually meal prep a bunch of slow cooker meals at once. Speaking of the slow cooker, I'm getting mine out because I plan to use it for tonight's dinner. And this, in my opinion, is the busy cook's best friend. I mean, this is the MVP of the busy family kitchen. If you do not already have a repertoire of at least a handful of go-to slow cooker recipes, I highly, highly recommend that you come up with one. Just even 4 or 5 recipes that are kind of like throw and go recipes, just put the ingredients in the crock pot and it will do the work for you and have dinner ready when you walk in the door. That can be a lifesaver for a busy family. And there are so many cookbooks devoted to slow cooker recipes. There are websites and recipe blogs, entire social media accounts. I have tons of videos specifically about these kinds of recipes, as do my friends who make videos on YouTube. It shouldn't be that hard to come up with a handful that you and your family really like that can be go-tos when you're in a time crunch. We have a choir concert to get to tonight for my oldest daughter, so I'm actually gonna utilize one of these HelloFresh meals, and I'm gonna use the slow cooker to cook it. They're sponsoring today's video, so we'll come back to that in a minute. But this one is for a hoisin glazed pork tenderloin. I've had this meal before. It was delicious. But instead of utilizing the oven to cook the pork tenderloin and the vegetables, I'm actually going to put them into the slow cooker with the same seasonings that it calls for. The only difference is that at the end of the cooking cycle, instead of slicing the pork tenderloin, I'm going to be able to shred it up, which is the texture we prefer for that kind of meat anyway. I'm also going to go ahead and cook up the rice right now while I have a little time and let it cool down and pop it in the fridge. So when we come home a little after 7 and we're all hungry after being out of the house at dinner time, all I will have to do is heat up the rice and shred up the pork in the slow cooker and then plate everybody's plate, and we'll have a delicious dinner ready in like less than 5 or 10 minutes when we walk in the door. Another headache mentioned almost as much as being busy was being on a budget, trying to meal plan on a budget, especially the last couple of years as we have seen grocery prices rise due to inflation. And I'm sure you are already utilizing some of the grocery savings hacks or tips that I've shared on this channel in multiple videos, or that my friends in a similar niche have shared. Sometimes it's good to get a refresher. You never know when you watch some of those videos if there's going to be something new that pops up that you haven't thought of, or maybe haven't thought of in a while. I will leave some of those videos linked in the description box below, along with some of my most recent meal plans, budget meal plans, where I actually start with a grocery haul and I prepare budget meals with that specific haul. So you know what to buy and then you know what I'm making with it, including a couple of my videos from back in February where I did an entire week budget meal plan for my family of 5. I think my budget was around $100. And then I took you through what I was feeding my family for the entire week with with those groceries. And I think I even had some printables with the recipes and the meal options and the grocery list available for you with those. So I'll leave those videos linked in the description box also. And I'm gonna go ahead and say this now, although it applies as a possible solution or at least encouragement to a lot of the headaches or the problems that I'm mentioning right now. And that is that it is okay to eat the same things. We don't have to always reinvent the wheel. Not every meal has to be this like gourmet adventure or some new exciting recipe that we are trying. Sometimes getting fed is the only goal that needs to happen. And if that means that it's a bowl of oatmeal or a bowl of cereal or that it's beans and rice or that it's that tried and true inexpensive casserole that we have made over and over again, it's okay. I know people who eat the same thing by the day of the week. They have a Monday meal plan and a Tuesday meal plan and so on and so forth, and they only change it up as the seasons change. Another common frustration or problem that people express when it comes to meal planning and cooking is, I'm just too tired. I'm too tired, I'm exhausted, I'm too tired to cook, I'm tired of cooking. I have been in that position so many times. In fact, one of the funniest thumbnails I think I've ever made for a video was on this topic, and it was me sprawled out on this very kitchen counter, just giving into my exhaustion. And I talked about several ideas in that video for when we're just tired of cooking. And one of my most popular videos of the previous year was this one right here, 20 meal ideas for when we're tired of cooking. And a lot of the ideas or tips I would give for this specific challenge are the same that I would give for times when we find ourselves too busy to cook. Coming up with very simple, easy to execute meal ideas, things like sandwiches, things like salads and wraps, the cook once, eat twice mentality, utilizing shortcuts, shortcut ingredients that can come together for super quick, easy meals. So I will leave some of those videos on that specific topic linked in the description box below. You can check them out because I know that sometimes we're just tired. We've just hit a wall. I mean, I was a teacher. I remember what May was like. Teachers, I see you. Ain't no tired like teacher in May tired. Am I right? Another common frustration I hear expressed with meal planning and cooking is being in a food rut, meaning I'm just tired of the same old stuff. I'm tired of making the same recipes. I feel uninspired. I don't know what to make. Nothing sounds good, that sort of thing. And obviously, if you're here watching my channel, you probably already know that there is more opportunity for inspiration than ever because of all of the food blogs, because of Pinterest, because of YouTube channels and social media accounts that are dedicated specifically to cooking. But if that doesn't do it for you, you could also head to your local library, or maybe you have a lending library app where you can check out some cookbooks. Like, you don't even have to purchase them anymore. You can usually just check them out and peruse through and see if there is some inspiration there. I also like to suggest crowdsourcing it. It might be as simple as picking up the phone and calling a sister or your mom or your grandma, maybe if there's a recipe that you remember that they used to make that you haven't made in a while, or maybe they have something new that they've created that they want to share with you. And you can crowdsource it on your own social media too. You can make a Facebook post and say, hey, who has something new and exciting to make in the kitchen, a new and exciting recipe? You might be surprised what you come up with. And if you don't feel like crowdsourcing for inspiration on your own social media, I got you covered, because I made a community post on my channel page just yesterday asking for some meal inspiration and meal ideas, and that particular post has over 200 comments with meal ideas, with links to different websites and recipes, things that people have made in their own kitchens. Some of them are things that I've already made before, but there were a few that are new to me. And actually, we're gonna jump ahead here in just a minute because I'm gonna make one of those later this week. But if you wanna check out that post, there's lots of really great ideas with all kinds of recipes, catering to all different kinds of eating preferences and lifestyles right there. HelloFresh is sponsoring today's video, and it's actually very fitting because I have used meal kits like HelloFresh to solve a lot of these problems in my household. It's great when we're busy because the meals come right to my door. I don't have to go to the grocery store. It's great when I'm a little bit on the tired side because everything I need to make a meal at home, including the directions complete with pictures, are right there in the box. And it's also been a great way for us to try new recipes because there are some meals that have come our way in our HelloFresh box that I probably wouldn't have chosen if I was perusing a recipe site or a cookbook. But once we tried them out, we discovered that we really liked them. So when you sign up for HelloFresh, and if you do, make sure that you stay tuned because they've got a deal for you, including 16 free meals and free shipping. But when you sign up and you create your account, you choose from over 40 different recipes that they change out each week. And this includes not just like standard meals, but they also have recipes that cater to pescatarian, to vegetarian. They have family-friendly recipes, fit and wholesome recipes. They even have a line of recipes called Quick and Easy that come together in around 15 minutes. You choose the number of meals you want to receive each week, the number of servings you want those meals to make, and then the specific recipes that you would like to try, and they ship it right to your door, complete with everything that you need, neatly packaged to make each one of those recipes that you've selected. If you want to try out HelloFresh as a solution to some of the headaches that we're talking about in this video, you can visit the link in the description box below, or you can go to HelloFresh.com and make sure that you use my code Mindy16 at checkout, because it's going to give you 16 free meals plus free shipping. You can cancel the subscription whenever you want. You can pause. You can skip a week of deliveries whenever you want. But for 16 free meals plus free shipping, use my code Mindy16 at HelloFresh.com or follow the link in the description box below. And thank you again to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. More than one person recommended that I try making picadillo. So we're gonna try out this Mexican picadillo that one of you linked from the website House of Yum. It looks like a one-pan recipe with ground beef, potatoes, vegetables, and different seasonings, so definitely right up my alley. And as I did a quick Google search of this, it looks like this is a pretty popular dish in lots of Latin American countries, and the different kinds of vegetables and the different seasonings might vary slightly depending on where it's being made. But I'll leave the one that I am using as a jumping off point linked in the description box below, and thank you so much for the recommendation. We have a pound of ground beef. Actually, this is a little bit more than a pound, but that'll be okay. It calls for 2 cups of peeled and cubed potatoes. So these 5 small potatoes should suffice just fine. I'm gonna peel those and chop them. Half an onion chopped. This red bell pepper will have to do in place of the green bell pepper because I only have a red one. And it calls for 8 ounces of tomato sauce or fresh tomatoes, about a cup of fresh tomatoes. So I will chop up these Roma tomatoes. Salt and pepper, cumin, bay leaves, just one bay leaf, and unfortunately I don't have coriander, so I'll just have to leave that out, and then some garlic, and also beef broth, which I am just going to make from this better than bouillon. My ground beef is almost done browning over medium heat, and the recipe specifically says that you don't have to finish browning it before you throw all of the vegetables in with it. These are the onions and the tomatoes. I put them in my little rotary grater because I got tired of chopping stuff. And I'm supposed to continue cooking this over medium heat until the onions begin to get translucent and the veggies start to soften just a little bit. This has been simmering for about 5 minutes, and I can definitely smell the onions getting fragrant. So now I'm gonna add a teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon of salt, black pepper, 1 bay leaf, some garlic, a generous amount, because I think it calls for 4 cloves minced. That's a lot of garlic. And then it calls for 1.5 cups of beef broth, but I'm just gonna put a few teaspoons of this better than bouillon in here and then stir in 1.5 cups of water. And now I'm supposed to bring this to a simmer, cover it, and let it cook covered for 10 minutes, and then take the lid off and let it simmer uncovered for an additional 10 minutes. This is a keeper, definitely a winner. It's such a simple dish, or it seems pretty simple, but the flavor is outstanding. I just have some green beans and some really simple cheese quesadillas along with it. Yum-y. I've had a few people comment that visiting multiple stores is something that is becoming very tedious and that is making meal planning a little bit more difficult because they want to save money on their grocery budget, and visiting multiple stores is something that I've mentioned and that many people have talked about as being a money savings tactic, because you can get the best deals at the different stores, just the very best deals that they're offering, and make your meal plan from that. But I do get that time is money also, and that sometimes it just gets really tiring having to go different places to get the absolute best deals. A couple of ideas, which you may already be implementing, are to think about using grocery pickup at 1 or 2 of those places, especially if it doesn't necessarily add any more to the price. I know some places charge for grocery pickup, but there are some grocery stores that don't charge any extra to actually do the shopping for you. And then when you're out and about shopping at multiple stores, that errand to that particular store hopefully hopefully would be shorter because all you would be doing is going in at the appropriate time to pick up your grocery order. Another option would be to consider breaking up the shopping and maybe visiting different places each week. Instead of hitting every single place every week, maybe think about hitting just 1 or 2 stores or even just 1 store each week and getting the best deals at that time. I know that that doesn't necessarily help when it comes to weekly sales flyers that will then expire, but if there are things that you are purchasing at stores just because the regular price is the best, maybe you could only visit that store once or twice a month instead of every single week or in every single grocery shopping trip that you make, and just stock up on that item then if it's something that can be stored or frozen and won't spoil before you need to use it. A lot of headaches stem from varied dietary preferences. I get comments a lot from people who are trying to figure out how to feed multiple people in their household. And it may be something as simple as picky eaters. It may be people who need to eat a certain diet because of allergies or sensitivities, or it may be somebody who is on a weight loss or a health journey and needs to eat a specific way that is maybe slightly different than the way the rest of the household wants to eat. And yes, I did make a video about picky eaters with some strategies that have worked for our household in the past. If you missed that one, it's linked in the description box with the others. Hopefully there are some helpful tips there. And I also do understand how difficult it can be when you are trying to eat a certain way and you are also trying to feed a household that may not be on the same health or dietary journey as you. I actually started out making content around my weight loss journey with Weight Watchers, and I have since left that niche for my own personal reasons, and it's not something I'm gonna dive back into, but I do understand the struggle. A few things I discovered that helped me during that particular season were, number 1, discovering just a handful of recipes that worked for me and the lifestyle I was trying to live that everybody liked. Usually there were at least a few things I could come up that fit the plan I was following and that my family would also eat. Even when my husband was experimenting a little bit with keto, there were some keto friendly recipes that the kids and I liked as well. So if you can come up with just like a small core recipe bundle, you know, like 6 recipes or so, and make 1 or 2 of those every single week, it's okay to eat the same things. It's okay. I also discovered some recipes that were really easy for me to modify for me. For instance, we like spaghetti in this household, and it's really easy for me to make spaghetti sauce, to make pasta. Sometimes I eat the pasta, but lots of times I like to make spaghetti squash for my husband and myself. And it's not that much extra work for me to roast a spaghetti squash so that he and I can have the sauce over spaghetti squash, like a lower carb option, and the kids can still have their pasta. I'm actually practicing this little strategy tonight because I'm gonna make Italian sandwiches. I've talked about these so many times on my channel. My family loves these, and they're a summer staple with pepperoni and salami and ham and cheese and veggies on a loaf of French bread. But my husband and I would prefer salads. So I'm just going to make the sandwiches for the kids, and then I'm gonna take the salad fixings, the meat and the cheese and the veggies, and put them on top of salad greens. And we're going to have basically the same meal, but I'm turning it into a salad instead of a sandwich. And the last tip I wanna share for addressing this particular headache when you're trying to feed varied dietary lifestyles is to think of meals that you can serve bar style or build your own style, meaning keep the starches and the proteins and the veggies separate so that everybody can make their own plate. So if somebody is eating dairy-free, they can leave off the cheese or the sour cream. If somebody is eating plant-based, they can leave the meat alone and focus on the veggies and the starches and the plant-based proteins. If somebody wants to eat low carb, maybe they're going to make their taco bowl on top of cauliflower rice or on top of vegetables with the meat and the cheese instead of utilizing, you know, the cilantro lime rice that you made up for everybody else. And you can do this with taco bars, with breakfast bars, with pasta bars, with sandwich bars, with salad bars, baked potato bars. There's so many different directions you can go with this, where you just put out the ingredients for everybody's meal, and then they can make their plates according to their own preferences. Another frustration I've seen expressed is having to deal with an inconsistent schedule, and man, do I understand that. There are some evenings when I am home at dinner time and actually have time to prep and cook a meal. And there are other evenings when we are out of the house, either right up until or even during the dinner hour, and I need to have something that I can throw together quickly or that's ready when we walk in the door. And my suggestion for this is the same thing I would suggest for another problem expressed to me, which is poor follow through, meaning I make a meal plan, but then when I get to that particular day, it just doesn't sound very good to me anymore. So I have a hard time following through with the recipes that I've planned. And that suggestion is to consider utilizing a capsule meal plan. What I mean by that is a handful of different recipes that can cater to the different things that might fall into your schedule or the different preferences you might have from day to day. I actually took this concept a little bit further with a couple of videos and attached digital products that I put out last year, where I used a capsule of about 20 ingredients and I came up with lots of different recipes that I could make from those specific ingredients. But in this instance, I would also recommend something even simpler, which is just coming up with about 6 or 8 recipes that you like that are not only varied in taste, you know, varied in the different kinds of ingredients or the different sorts of cuisines that you like to eat, but that are also varied in the cooking process, meaning have 1 or 2 that are good crock pot meals and 1 or 2 that are good one pan or sheet pan meals, and maybe 1 or 2 that are super fast, like 10-minute meals, sandwiches, or salads that you can throw together in a pinch. And then when you go shopping for the week or maybe for 2 weeks, you're just purchasing ingredients for several different kinds of meals within your capsule of recipes. And when the days come, you can decide either that day or as you get your schedule for that week, which meals you want to plug in to which day. And that gives you a little bit more flexibility to cater to an inconsistent schedule that is different every single evening, or just to cater to the whim of, hey, I thought that I wanted to have this on Tuesday, but I don't really feel like having this, because you don't have to stick to specific meals on specific days. You just have a list of meals that you can choose from whenever you like. I'm actually working on this very concept right now for my own kitchen, but for summer. I am picking out a handful of recipes that I know my family likes and that work well in the warmer months, so that nights when I don't have something I'm filming for a specific video or I'm just not sure what to make, I can choose from those handful of meals that I know are winners for us. And you'll be seeing that in its own video. It'll probably be coming out in about 2 or 3 weeks. But if you want to know more about that concept, you can check out some of the videos I already mentioned, or you can, hang around for that video to come out for a more in-depth look into that process. I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't at least tip my hat, give a little shout out to all of the new parents or expecting parents, all of the women who have chimed in saying they've just had a baby and they're just trying to survive. I've been there, I've been in this season. I know that some of this advice that I am giving seems impractical right now. I know it's working for me because I have older kids who can bathe themselves and feed themselves and sleep through the night. I have been where you are before. I hope that there is something here that you can tweak, that you can use, that you can adjust to make work for you. But I will say that something that helped me during that season of life was learning to accept help when it was offered. If there was somebody that I knew and trusted who wanted to bring me a meal or who wanted to send us a gift card for takeout, I took them up on it. And also learning to ask for it when I need it, including sometimes just not feeling, guilty about utilizing some conveniences like grocery pickup or delivery, or, maybe a meal kit service like the one that I mentioned here. I just wanted to let you know that I see you and I understand that it can feel like the most blessed and simultaneously the most difficult season of your life. I've been there. If you have ideas you want to share about how to tackle some of these headaches that we have mentioned when it comes to meal planning and preparing meals in our family kitchens, be sure to leave me a comment and check out one of these videos to watch next.